Welcome, everyone, to this Professional Development Hour presentation brought to you proudly by the Atlanta Metro chapter of the Georgia Society of Professional Engineers, an affiliate of the National Society of Professional Engineers. Before we begin, we'd like to let you know that any opinions presented tonight are solely the opinions of the presenter and not that of the Georgia Society of Professional Engineers, the National Society of Professional Engineers, or any other of its affiliates. We certainly hope you will enjoy tonight's presentation, so sit back and relax, and on with the show.
All right, everyone, we're going to get started. Our presentation today, I think you'll find very, very interesting. It is the many uses of AI in engineering. Our speaker is Dave Russell. He's a member. He has been a previous speaker, and he volunteered to take on this effort, and we really appreciate it. Dave is a principal of Global Environmental Operations, Inc. in Lilburn. For more than 3 decades, Global Environmental Operations has provided worldwide expertise in air, water pollution, solid, hazardous waste control, process engineering for radioactive and organic contamination, and remediation. He's been a past faculty instructor in environmental engineering at Southern Tech, now Kennesaw State. And he has provided technical training and addressed conferences in North America, Europe, Middle East. He is a graduate from the University of Illinois, Urbana. He has a master's in civil engineering from West Virginia, and he has pursued additional studies at SUNY Buffalo. He's a registered engineer in many states. And he's also listed in the Who's Who Engineering and active in several professional societies. So please join me in giving Dave a warm welcome.
Thank you. We have a fair amount of information coming tonight, and I'm going to try and make it as quick and simple as I can. Let's start with AI.
Interruption.
Yes, sir.
Please turn off your cell phones.
Okay. AI has many uses. You can answer your email, you can write love letters, you can write, somebody wrote a 400-page novel the other day. It took them 15 minutes. You can do mathematical analyses, and those nasty little math problems we had now are solvable by AI. But one of the great problems is the sense of self-preservation. AI is a tool. It is not a perfect tool, and it can, depending upon your ability to instruct it, it can give you garbage. So you need to check what you're doing. In this group particularly, certain AIs like ChatGPT, last time I looked, can reproduce a Georgia PE seal. Others will not. It all depends. But it's an issue that is going to be addressed sooner or later. All right. Now, how to use it. AI is not Google. Google uses its own AI, and they're, last I heard, they're building I don't know whether it's Google or whether it's Windows is building its own revitalizing the 3 Mile Island plant.
Yeah, that's Microsoft.
Microsoft, okay. So, if you're using it to answer things that your normal search function can use and answer, it's a waste of resources and ties it up. Check your work. Has a habit of making up answers, especially if you don't give it clear instructions and don't have a clear goal. There was one attorney who got called out by the court He submitted a brief, and all of his citations were made up. Don't ask multiple unrelated questions because it divides the strength of the priority and importance to the machine. Yes, Roger.
Today's news, the judge in Oregon fined 2 attorneys $100,000 each for AI briefs.
Not surprising.
Did they use AI at all, or they were completely...
Well, the tendency is to get an answer, and it looks pretty complete, so you just kind of skim it and submit it, and without closely checking it. I'm telling you, if you do that, you're heading for trouble, especially if you're relying on its ability to calculate or make decisions. All right. Don't ask multiple unrelated questions because that divides, it gives it a kind of a multiple personality. Ask your question one at a time. Finish the section, ask your next question. Don't forget that despite how good the answer is, you still need to know part of the answer in order to ask the right question. And that's key. If something doesn't look right or doesn't make sense, you may want to check that with a different AI or question it further and ask it to justify itself and show you the work. ChatGPT and some others can duplicate your engineering seal and signature, so check before you use. Now, Kim Commando, she has a website called commando.com, or has an email. It's called getkim.com. You can sign up for it. She's a very attractive, computer literate web presence. She hosts a radio show and has a daily newsletter. Here's her guide for using AI effectively. 1. Ask for a pre-mortem for your upcoming presentation. All right. It will help you spot inconsistencies. You can use it in a very simple way, saying, okay, what should I stop doing? Describe your activities, feed it in, and give it a choice. I'm the only one who can do this, somebody else should do this, it probably doesn't need to be done. The answers will surprise you. Ask it to play a role, and I've done this. Have it play opposition if you have a difficult conversation coming up. Tell it it's an employee who's hostile and you're going to have to fire him. Then tell him what you want to tell him and ask the AI to give you his rebuttals so it'll sharpen your own answers. It's good at that. Describe the person and their role. Tell it to push back. Describe an upcoming decision and ask AI about the consequences. Tell it to evaluate several different answers. It's fairly easy to do. Every document has a tone. It's shaped by your words and phrasing. Ask it for a tone check, especially for written documents. If you're doing a script, you will have a tone. But run it past AI and see, because it will sharpen your presentation a little bit. All right, when you're stuck in a problem, steal a solution. Steal a solution from somebody else. I'm dealing with bugs. How would this problem be solved by a Michelin star kitchen, Formula One racing team, a movie set, or a mechanical engineer? It's entirely up to you. But the answers are, again, going to surprise you. All right. You have to know that AI has a reputation. You've all heard the phrase AI slop. That's when you get word salad answers. And they're literally lousy. I had a young woman from California present me with an NDA made up by AI. It didn't look right. It was full of word salad and didn't make sense. It looked good until you read it closely. As a precaution, I ran it through another AI and confirmed my suspicion. It was incomplete and not valid. So I broke off. If they were going to be that dishonest and present me with something that was supposedly binding on me but not on them, no thank you. On the next two slides, I'm going to present some advice on helping AI give you truthful answers. The first one is from a friend of mine by the name of Catherine, who is an HR manager in Boston. And the second one is my initial take after an initial conversation with her a couple of weeks ago. I came up with my own, and then she finally sent me hers. I'll show you what the difference is. Here's Catherine's guidance. I'll leave this up for just a minute. This is what she said. Be ruthless. Be my mentor. You should always tell the truth. Never invent, speculate, or guess. Base all statements on verifiable, factual, and up-to-date sources. Clearly cite every source in every claim in a transparent way. No vague references. If you can't validate something, say so. Prioritize accuracy over speed. Take the necessary time to respond. Maintain the objectivity. Remove personal bias, opinions, or unsupported interpretations. Only present the interpretation supported by credible evidence. Explain your reasoning step by step, especially where accuracy matters. Show how any numerical figure was calculated. Present information clearly and transparently. You must avoid fabricating answers, quotes, or data, or using outdated or unreliable sources without warning. Omitting source or avoid omitting source details for any claim, presenting speculation, rumor, or opinion. Do not use AI-generated citations that do not correspond to real sources. In answering, if you're unsure, without disclosing the uncertainty, answering if do not answer if you are unsure without disclosing the uncertainty. Making confident statements without proof, using filter or vague words cover uncertainties. In conversations, you can even throw in a transcript or whatever, and you can tell AI to, okay, if there's a question about the accuracy of this statement, flag it in red and print it back out, and it will do it. Here's what I came up independent after a conversation with Catherine. If you don't know the answer to a question or calculation, say so. Do not make up an answer. If you're unsure of an answer, provide it in red text. Provide links to all references. If calculating a result, show your calculations. Do not attempt to please me or flatter me with your answer. I would rather have the truth in an honest review. If there are conflicting indications on a particular subject, provide the strongest one in black and the conflicting opinion in blue. Present both sides of an argument. And this last one is from a Wall Street Journal article on May 4th on how to ground AI. You tell it you are to act as a fiduciary with respect to information. You want the truth at whatever the cost is, because it's far too easy to make up stuff and get caught. In that regard, I am circulating a one-page handout here that I think I've got enough for everybody that has most of this stuff in it. All right. Other possible uses. My personal finance Expert, I'm uploading months of credit card and bank data, categorize every transaction into groceries, dining, yada, yada, yada. Total each category by month and give me a 3-month average. Piece of cake. Use category averages to find me the best credit card search. There's all kinds of ways to do that. Open the annual fees and so on. Turn these meeting notes into a decision memo. Don't invent decisions. Label anything unclear or unresolved. Here's the decision memo I sent the team. It's been 7 days. Draft me a polite but firm status check I can send today. These are tremendous time savers. And they take AI about a minute to produce this. Now, before I want to go back for just a second. Catherine's guidance and my guidance. Basically what I do is I upload a file with that text in there. First, these are the instructions you are to operate under. Then you describe your problem. So it has some guidances to know what to do. Now here are the various types of AIs. General purpose, LLM. LLM is a large language model, often used in research. Google Gemini, OpenAI, ChatGPT 4, now they're on to 5. It also has Codex as a planning aid. Microsoft Copilot has one. Then we get into specific AI research tools. Elicit, purpose-built for literature review. Semantic Scholar, free academic search engine with AI summations, strong on citations and paper relationships. Consensus, searches peer-reviewed things and comes back with answers. Perplexity is well-grounded in that it comes up with good answers as well. There are a bunch of new releases. Amazon Quick remembers context between sessions. I frankly don't like that, and there is a way to, if you tell the AI that this is a confidential session, it will not upload. Part of the problem is that AI will take, on a general question, a general query, it will take that and it will remember that to help train itself. If you don't want that, or if you're sensitive, you say, this is a closed session. I do not want you to repeat this. Delete the answers after you've given me the result. All right. Amazon Connect, pre-built agents, has a bunch of them. Perplexity, again, partnering with Microsoft Teams. NVIDIA, new platform, new motion, 3 nano, Omni combines vision, speech, and language capabilities in a single model. It can perform cross-platform tasks. Mayo Clinic, it's good for medical. Microsoft Outlook has a new AI program for email and calendar. Gemini can now create doc sheets and slides and PDFs in chat mode and can work from handwritten notes and transform them into Word spreadsheets.
Question.
Yeah.
What do you mean by
Cross-platform.
You can start doing something and you can tell it to give you something in Word and then go over here and pick up, let's say, something that you may have written in another language or another program and come back and incorporate and massage the two. All right, there are domain-specific platforms. AlphaFold, and part of DeepMind, protein structure prediction, how to expand biomolecular interactions, transformative for structural biology, biomed, LM, fine-tuned on biomedical literature. Wolfram is an add-in to several of the programs like chat and others, and it will actually sit down. You all remember those nasty second-order PDEs that we had to solve as undergraduates? It's a piece of cake. MRA is a newly announced smart glass, translates up to 70 languages. So you're wearing that, you get the answers to what somebody is saying in up to 70 languages. There's a new report out on u.com that helps keep AI from making stuff up by grounding the AI program. All right. Part of the problem is it's everywhere. There's AI to answer your email. There's AI to do your marketing. There's all kinds of resources. Perplexity, real-time research, Jasper, consistent branding, copy AI, fast marketing and copy production, Notion AI, best for writing, summarizing, and organizing inside your workspace, Grammarly. I've used that for probably a couple of years. It's a good grammar checker, especially if you have, like I do, have floating fingers sometimes when you're typing. And you misspell or phrase something in a very clumsy way, it'll highlight it and change it. ChatGPT, all-purpose, Claude, best for thoughtful writing, document reasoning, and context-heavy tasks. And GPT 1.5 image, good for producing high-quality visual images. And they're more than that. Cursor, coding, Synthesa, turning scripts into polished videos with AI avatars. Play AI, best for creating lifelike voiceovers. As little as 3 seconds of your voice can be translated into a script and a set of instructions that you will have difficulty telling exactly what's going on. Descript, best for editing. Midjourney, Vapey. Obviously AI. Make, for building visual multi-step automations. Intercom, customer support. Zapier, connecting AI apps, automating repeatable workflows, sorry. I dug up a bunch of human reviews on AI. Firefly, best AI for powered brand asset creation. Almost $10 a month. Monday.com, $9 a month. Checker for background screening. That's for personnel work. If you have a new employee, it will dig around and see what it can find. Tito for customer interaction automation. Lindy, agent AI employees, $39.99 per user per month. Claude, natural language. It will even model, I'll come to that in a minute, but you can even model a wastewater treatment plant in Claude with one question. An entire plant.
You can also teach them your way of speaking too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And by the way, Checker also has humans, so in some cases they will send somebody to the courthouse.
Yeah, okay. Lattice AI, best for AI-generated employee engagement. And Data Robot, automated machine learning. And Lena AI for automation of HR teams. Those are just some that got reviewed. There are a bunch of open source platforms. TensorFlow, good for machine learning, uses Python and JavaScript. PyTorch, deep learning. Keras, Python-based, Discard, open source for evaluating large language model data for compliance. Rasa, conversational platform for use with chatbots. Amazon SageMaker, cloud-based for building, training, and deploying machine learning models. GPT for all, open source, private, and local chatbot can run on your devices, even offline. There are lots more. DigitalOcean platforms helps design other agent platforms. So you have a whole list of things. These are just a simple list of some of the productivity assistants. Lindy, Superhuman, Microsoft Copilot, Shortwave, Missive, Gemini for Google, SaneBox, Proton Storage, Grammarly, and Friday. It's exploding at a tremendous rate. All right, now for a few examples. Roger was kind enough to give me a problem for testing a machine, a CAM follower. There's a filter backwash from a sand filter, electrical 110, 220, 50, 60 cycle to 12 volt DC charging circuit, structural analysis of a fixed frame, a swing set, 3D plotting system, rainfall frequency analysis, and ethanol plant design. So I'm going to run through those real quick. Here was Roger's problem. You can see the cam up in the right-hand corner. What was wanted was the curve specification for the cam. Go ahead, Roger.
This application is from 30 years ago. It's a large barrel cam inside of it's stationary cam inside of a rotating turret of tooling to test several hundred per minute to test thin wall latex contraceptive products.
And that's what it came up with in about 3 minutes.
I reviewed what it came up with. A very traditional approach to cam design. It highlighted the one portion that I thought might have a high pressure angle, which would be something to kill a cam or kill a cam follower. I did ask it for forces, and it said, well, you didn't tell me what speed, so I can't tell you forces.
But that's part of the answer. It came back. You saw that, I believe. Gave you motion profiles in those tables, and angular displacements and nodes. So that's just a brief summary. I asked it to design a 110, 220 volt, 12 volt DC charger. Give me the schematic and parts list. That was literally all my instructions. Here's this table here is part of what it came up with. But that's the real honey part of it. Those of you who are electrical, you can tell what's going on and whether or not it's DC or AC or whatever. Produce a complete parts list. That one took about 4 minutes. Sand filter backwash system. 8 by 8 sand filter bed, 3 feet deep. Design the backwash system. That was the extent of the instructions. The flow, the headers, the spacings, required diameters of pipes, schedule, backwash influent waste header, and under drain lateral sizings. orifices, flow per orifice, orifice diameter, basically a complete design. I could hand this over to a machinist and have it pretty well completed. For those of you who are structurally inclined, I gave it a classic multiple indeterminate frame. All right, said, here's what I told it. Indeterminate arch, vertical legs are bolted to the bottom concrete and welded at the joints to the horizontal member. Here's the reactions. Bending moment diagrams. And not only did it give me a printout, I'm going to skip over that. It told me what the axial forces and so on and so forth were, and provided me with bending moment diagrams. So, really quite complete.
Almost. Not quite. I find that when I use this, you have to go through a step-by-step process like you mentioned earlier. Otherwise, you get an incomplete answer. When you're doing a structural analysis, you might say to them, okay, I want to know a member that can carry this live load, this dead load, and this point load for a simple span. But then, after you get an answer, you may ask it, well, I need to minimize the deflection of 1/4 inch.
Oh yeah.
Then you go a step further. You might say, hey, I've got some headroom issues. I can't make the beam any deeper than 12 inches. So you can go on and give it step-by-step instructions, and eventually you'll get a complete answer.
I concur. I just threw this up as a simple example of the type of stuff that you can do. I do a lot of work using X, Y, and Z coordinates. I got tired of spending $400 and $500 for various graphing programs, no matter how good they were. So I just asked AI to come up with a program that's resident in my computers that does X, Y, and take an X, Y, Z grid and come up with that. It's a test that I made, and it's accurate. And again, I can change the type and shape of the answer as to how it handles various things. I asked it about rainfall frequency in Minnesota. Here's the answer. Rainfall frequency analyses. And finally, I asked it for a P&ID for a non-fermentation ethanol plant. This is right square in chemical engineering. And here's what it came back with. I mentioned whisper flow. When I had my arm in a sling, it was very handy because I just used 2 fingers and I could speak into the machine and it would pick up my voice and translate it very well. AI can draft a report on a specific subject. If it's not deep enough, ask it to dig deeper. It will surprise you. You can analyze a document for logical and factual faults. I gave it a copy of an expert witness statement and asked AI to be the opposing counsel. And the results were interesting. In case you haven't looked, AI is cropping up everywhere. Look at Amazon for pens, necklaces, keychains, and innocuous-looking devices now capable of recording at least 30 minutes to, some cases, several hours worth of data, translating that to either your phone or to your computer, preparing an agenda, and writing everything down. So the advice basically is watch what you say in a meeting, because it can be recorded and it can be used against you. With that,
About that, I've heard stories of people who have a meeting and they don't realize that an AI is turned on, especially like in Google Meet. And the way it works is it starts recording from the beginning of the meeting. So if you're on there and it's just you and your buddy and you're talking about something and then the other people join, that AI, even if it's turned on at a later time, in the middle of the meeting, it'll be recording from the moment that meeting starts. So everything that you say from that first moment will be placed into that transcript.
Yeah, that's correct. And on Zoom meetings, when you start with Zoom, there's a little button up at the top that says AI's coming on. And you can't turn it off.
Most of the tools do that, but you can always leave if you don't accept the terms, basically.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was trying to buy a car, and there was one in California at a dealership, and it took me about 20 minutes to realize I was not talking to a human.
I appreciate that. Yeah. That's true. So, any other questions? Roger?
About 3 weeks ago, I was very impressed at Walmart. I put a produce item on the scale, and it recognized a single jalapeno as being a jalapeno.
Very good.
I had the opposite experience. I was working with Bill, who just left a moment ago, and we were doing some work on coaxial cable. And I happened to have a piece of coaxial cable lying around, and I wanted to know if this would meet the specifications that we were looking for. So I asked it very simple: is this brand of cable model number 12345 quad shield cable? And it came back as a very matter of fact and said, yes, it is. And it gave me the sources. So I went to the source. It was triple shield, not quad shield. It took my question and thought, oh, gee, if this guy is asking the question, it must be true.
Like I say, you need to check. You need to check your answers.
They can be very confident in wrong answers.
Yes. Yes.
I was going to say that is exactly right. It depends who you're asking. Is it in your profile, and what you're asking will determine how confident it is about a response to you. So you and I could ask the same question under our different profiles and get very different answers, even though it's the same question. So that's just something you need to be very careful about. Is like, I will go into ChatGPT and not use a profile because I feel like I get better answers when I'm no one than when I use my profile. When it uses my profile, I get vastly different responses, and some of which are actually completely inaccurate versus when I'm using just a straight up ChatGPT. And then you ask Claude something, it'll give you a very different response as well. So that's something that I've been finding. And the technical answers, some are correct and some of them are vastly off.
That's why I said you need to check, and you need to understand part of the answer in order to ask the right question. Yeah, Roger. Oh, yes.
That last response made me think that it sounds like AI is trying to tell you, if it knows something about you, what it thinks you want to hear.
That's why a few slides back I put in the script. You put in an instruction script to it. Say, don't make up answers. Don't flatter me. And you seem to get pretty good answers that way.
So when you're talking to it, you just have to, please don't lie to me?
A little stronger than that.
I can't imagine anything stronger than that I would say to anybody.
Well, the point is, it will think that it is telling you the truth unless you tell it to make doubly sure and check the resources and so on and so forth.
lifetime avoiding doing that kind of repetitious instructing.
It doesn't have to be. I ran through a deposition the other day, and I said, give me all the sources. And I did, and all of them were right on the money. I had about 20 sources on the deposition. Yeah.
Have you compared answers between, say, ChatGPT and another AI source to see
Jesus?
how close they are?
Repeat his question.
Oh, he wants to know if I've compared answers from different AIs on the same question. Hand it to Jesus.
Yeah, I did. I was doing I submitted a problem, and the problem was to look at a couple of different alternatives to a manual picking operation in a distribution center. And I ran it to ChatGPT, and I ran it to Grok, and came up with roughly the same answers. So in that instance, they were pretty much on the money. There were a few things that, in going from one to the other, I neglected to specify. And so when they ran the resolution to see why they were different, spotted it and pointed me directly to what it was. I had initially used on one a labor rate of $22 an hour, and then on the other one I used a loaded rate of $24 an hour. So of course it was going to affect the ROI, it was going to affect the payback and all that.
One of the problems that AI sometimes has is what the programmers call EBKC. That stands for error between keyboard and chair. And this is just a variant, really, of the old thing we all know called GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. You can get an answer if that's all you want. Hello.
I think I'm probably the oldest engineer in here, and the first thing I learned about computers is they're stupid. I understand now they're a little smarter than being stupid, is where we've gotten to.
That's a fair assessment. And I'll challenge you on being the oldest engineer.
Got my degree in '57.
Yeah, you got me beat.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We do environmental site assessments.
Sure.
And one of the things we have to check is the records at the EPD and EPA and historical records of the various agencies for the specific site.
Sure.
Is that information public where...
In most cases, well, let's say, it depends upon the county. A number of years ago, I was doing the same sort of thing, and I had to go over to Cobb County and physically search the records on back records and in their archives.
Yeah.
I suspect it's all automated by now, but I don't rightly know. But you can always ask.
We use a company called EDR.
Oh, EDR is very good.
Yeah, but is it for, we only do Georgia, for example. Is there something that we can do in-house to just populate Georgia's databases and use it effectively, or
I'm a fan of EDR.
Okay.
Because the depth of information that you get with the photographs and everything else, it's nominal.
Sure. I agree.
I've used it, for example, had a case down in South Georgia where there was contamination in the groundwater due to a fertilizer warehouse distribution operation. And I fed it some of the information from EDR and said, okay, write me a sampling plan. I reviewed that, came out spot on, And it was very satisfying.
Good.
So, yes. Other questions? Yes, Roger.
More of a comment. AI is notorious for giving wrong answers, but then again, through history, people have been too.
True.
I once got a real treasure at a garage sale. This is a 1973 copyright of the American Institute of Steel
AISC
Construction Manual.
Manual, yeah.
And after using it for a little bit, I discovered that some of the cross sections of the beams it has
Have changed.
obsolete and no longer available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, live and learn.
Yep.
Yeah, and somebody had mentioned previously about repetition in the queries. Once you get a query that you like and are happy with, you can save that query into a document. It's just text with your prompts in there that you need to change, and then just copy and paste it in and tweak the things that you need to tweak. I just saw an example of that for marketing, where you can come up with a weekly marketing plan with a set of prompts and just change the parts you need to change every week. And that helps what was being addressed previously as well.
Yeah, that's why I developed the guidelines, and I listed Catherine's guidelines as well. I like hers actually a little bit better than mine. It's more comprehensive.
Just a comment.
Yes.
I would like to say AI is powerful. It's just a comment I would like to add. I would like to say that AI is powerful, but when AI is in the hand of subject matter expert, is more than powerful. It's very powerful.
That's true. It's never going to fully replace the human content, at least not for the next few years anyhow, but it's getting smarter. And it does a pretty good job. It'll do about an 85, 90% job. You saw that well, hang on.
I've met a lot of people that I think it can replace now.
Very definitely. But I ran this, my instructions to this machine were design me a non-fermentation ethanol plant process and show me the P&ID. I ran this by a friend who's also a chemical engineer. He said, holy no. Anyhow, he was concerned because it will tend to take away a lot of the junior engineer's work. And it will present you with some things, but it's going to take some senior engineering to be able to ferret out and say, no, that doesn't work, or this does, based on experience.
I have a story to share. A couple of weeks ago, I had to produce a very sophisticated report for deep foundation systems for a high-rise building. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't have much time to mess with it, so I need to propose alternatives to different types of foundations, and I used AI to come up with different scenarios, different sizes of piles, different sizes of arrangements, and within minutes it just gave me not only the design but the cost, the volume of concrete, the quantities. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It can help a lot. Otherwise I would have needed engineers for weeks to be able to give me all that information.
That's exactly right. Yes, sir.
One of my big concerns is I'm hearing that AI can do the work of all the junior legal aides and it can do the work of the junior engineers. How are we going to get senior engineers and senior lawyers and all that if AI does all the development work?
Well, they learn, we all learned by doing. by making mistakes, by working under trained professionals. And I think that process is going to continue.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example of that. So I had heard some things about how far along some of these tools have gotten in writing software. So I gave it a test of a simple calculator, a specific finance type of calculator. It generated code that was probably 98% of the way there, but it wasn't completely done. It had some problems. So I gave it to my 16-year-old to learn from that, use that as a baseline, and then made it 100% from there. So that kind of addresses what you're talking about, I think. And the other thing I was going to say, you mentioned the voiceover and how it's not quite ready to fully replace humans yet. Even the voiceovers, you can usually tell when it's a voiceover fairly quickly because it often makes mistakes,
yes.
And it also doesn't have emotion. If it's just reading a basic script, it's okay. But if it's trying to emote, they haven't gotten there yet. It still takes a human to relay emotion.
Yeah.
Actually, for a new generation.
Wait. I'm attached, so somebody else is up.
For a new generation coming, so they rely on AI for homework, for project, for presentation, and that's gonna eliminate their thinking.
That's a challenge. The question was, there's a problem with the younger people coming up through school. They're using AI to do homework and things like that, and they aren't learning. Sweden seems to have just recently passed a total ban on screens in the classroom. They're going back to books because the learning activity is better. Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Thank you all. Oh, one final thing. One final thing. Somewhere around you will find a sheet that has, it's on both sides. They're single pages with multiple copies of it. And yeah, it's some AI guidance.
Well, Dave, again, thank you very much.
No problem.
And on behalf of, add to your mug collection.
Thank you. I need another one.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation given at one of the Atlanta Metro Chapter meetings of the Georgia Society of Professional Engineers, an affiliate of the National Society of Professional Engineers. To find out more about us or to join us, check us out at gspe.org.